The young man stumbles through a desolate city, searching desperately for a clean water source. With a flicker of hope, he finds an abandoned supermarket and raids the canned food section for sustenance. Huddled in a makeshift shelter, he uses a flickering flashlight to read a tattered map, hoping to find a safe haven. Climbing a rusty ladder, he spots a hidden underground bunker, his ticket to safety. Amidst the ruins, he uncovers a stash of medical supplies, a life-saving treasure. He watches the sunset, taking in the eerie beauty of a world forever changed. Battling radiation sickness, he stumbles upon an untouched pharmacy, a ray of hope for survival. Alone in the wilderness, he forages for edible plants to curb his hunger. A lone wolf approaches him cautiously, forming an unlikely alliance. He constructs a crude water filter, turning irradiated puddles into drinkable water. In the distance, he spots an abandoned military bunker where salvation may await. Hiding from a hostile gang, he narrowly avoids capture by taking cover in an abandoned school. Scavenging through the rubble, he uncovers a cache of weapons to defend himself. He catches a rabbit in a primitive snare, securing a much-needed meal. He fends off a pack of mutant dogs with a makeshift spear, narrowly escaping their attack. Near a riverbed, he finds a small community of survivors and offers his skills in exchange for shelter. With trembling hands, he administers first aid to his own wounds after a dangerous encounter. Huddled in a dusty attic, he witnesses a nuclear storm raging outside, thankful for shelter. Using a salvaged radio, he broadcasts a distress signal, hoping for a response from other survivors. He repairs a broken solar panel, providing a source of electricity for his shelter. Hiking through a barren forest, he stumbles upon an untouched wildlife sanctuary teeming with food. In the silence of an empty church, he finds solace and prays for a better world. As night falls, he discovers a hidden cave, the perfect refuge from the cold. He takes shelter in an abandoned library, surrounded by the knowledge of the past. He watches a beautiful meteor shower, reminding him of the wonder that once was. Crafting a makeshift bow, he hunts for small game to replenish his food supply. Encountering a friendly stranger, he forms a bond and shares stories of survival. Amidst the ruins of a gas station, he siphons precious fuel for his journey. He witnesses the ruins of a once thriving city, a stark reminder of humanity's fall. Stumbling upon a pristine garden, he harvests fresh vegetables to combat malnutrition. He uses a Geiger counter to test radiation levels in an unfamiliar area before exploring. Crafting a signal fire on a hill, he hopes to attract other survivors in the distance. He constructs a rainwater collector, ensuring a steady source of hydration. In a hidden bunker, he finds an untouched cache of pre-apocalypse books, a rare fending off a group of marauders, he narrowly escapes a violent encounter. He discovers a pristine mountain stream, quenching his thirst and renewing his spirit. Spotting an approaching dust storm, he seeks refuge in an abandoned building. Huddled by a campfire, he reflects on the world that once was, surrounded by relics of the past. He spots a dilapidated farmhouse and gathers fresh eggs from a neglected chicken coop. Crafting a radio transmitter, he broadcasts messages of hope to anyone who might be listening. Desperate for warmth, he scavenges for firewood in the barren landscape. Atop a ruined skyscraper, he spots a signal flare in the distance, a potential rescue. He tends to a makeshift garden, nurturing a sense of normalcy in his post-apocalyptic life. Hiking through a barren desert, he stumbles upon an oasis, a rare source of clean water. He uncovers a hidden cache of antibiotics, a priceless find in a world without medical care. With a handmade fishing rod, he catches fish in a radioactive pond, a risky but necessary meal. He battles radiation sickness, retreating to a lead-lined shelter for protection. Discovering a long-abandoned RV, he finds it to be a mobile sanctuary, a new home on wheels. While exploring an old factory, he locates a stash of tools, improving his chances of survival. Alone in the post-apocalyptic wilderness, he watches a shooting star and makes a wish for a brighter future. The young man scales the ruins of a skyscraper, searching for any sign of life in the distance. He uncovers a hidden fallout shelter and finds canned goods, providing a temporary respite from hunger. Battling harsh radiation, he dons a hazmat suit and scavenges for precious resources. Discovering an old functional bicycle, he gains a newfound speed and mobility in his journey. In the heart of a decaying city, he finds an abandoned pharmacy stocked with antibiotics. Hiding from a deadly storm, he takes refuge in a crumbling church, praying for safety. As night falls, he learns to play a forgotten piano in an abandoned mansion, finding solace in music. He encounters a group of friendly survivors, sharing stories and pooling resources for survival. Crafting a solar still, he extracts drinkable water from contaminated sources. Venturing into an abandoned laboratory, he discovers advanced medical equipment to treat injuries. While exploring an old military base, he finds a cache of non-perishable MREs, a feast in the wasteland. He stumbles upon a hidden fallout shelter filled with books, immersing himself in the world of knowledge. Building a rudimentary water purifier, he quenches his thirst from a polluted river. He witnesses a breathtaking sunset over a vast, desolate landscape, offering a moment of peace. In a remote cabin, he discovers a generator and restores electricity to his sanctuary. The young man battles a horde of mutant insects with a homemade flamethrower protecting his territory. Amidst the remains of an art gallery, he finds a paint set and unleashes his creativity on the world's canvas. Trapped in a collapsed tunnel, he uses his survival skills to dig his way out. He forages for edible mushrooms in a damp underground cavern, diversifying his diet. Constructing a makeshift kite, he sends messages attached to it, hoping someone will respond. On the rooftop of an abandoned hospital, he plants a small garden, cultivating a source of fresh produce. Encountering a friendly stray dog, he gains a loyal companion and a source of comfort. He encounters a mysterious underground bunker filled with preserved artifacts from the past. Huddled in an old fire station, he watches a storm pass, grateful for shelter. He engineers a wind turbine, providing a renewable source of energy for his hideout. In the remnants of an art studio, he creates sculptures from discarded metal, a testament to resilience. Spotting a distant forest fire, he assesses its threat and prepares for evacuation. He devises a clever system for rainwater collection on the rooftop, ensuring a steady water supply. As winter approaches, he fortifies his shelter with insulated materials, bracing for the cold. The young man scavenges a crashed military vehicle for valuable supplies and weaponry. He constructs a signal beacon to communicate with potential survivors using Morse code. Crafting an improvised wind chime, he finds a moment of peace in its soothing sounds. Discovering a hidden garden, he cultivates medicinal herbs, becoming his own apothecary. Huddled in a cave, he warms himself by a homemade fire pit, thankful for a moment of comfort. He uncovers an old radio station and broadcasts messages of hope, reaching out to a wider audience. The young man confronts a gang of bandits, defending his territory with makeshift traps. Finding an untouched cinema, he watches old films on a battered projector, momentarily escaping reality. He crosses a rickety bridge, narrowly avoiding a fall into a radioactive river below. Among the ruins of a museum, he preserves and catalogues artifacts, determined to protect history. Crafting a bicycle-powered generator, he ensures a continuous source of electricity in his shelter. While exploring a shipwreck, he retrieves essential supplies from the cargo hold. He designs a self-sustaining garden using aquaponics, securing a reliable food source. Battling severe cold, he dons layered clothing and repurposes insulation from abandoned buildings. Venturing into a former military command center, he gains access to valuable information and resources. He rescues a trapped animal, forming a bond with a wounded bird and nursing it back to health. In a desolate mine, he finds a cache of precious minerals, an opportunity for trade with other survivors. On a remote mountaintop, he encounters an old hermit who imparts valuable survival wisdom. The young man constructs a makeshift raft to cross a contaminated river, taking a calculated risk. He fortifies his shelter with a hidden cache of reinforced materials, increasing his security. Stumbling upon an untouched botanical garden, he cultivates exotic plants, adding variety to his